Hi everybody, I'm Laura Watson and this is Ben Rutledge. I write a regular article called Watson's Whys, and today we're going to look at the question of high performance athlete turned coaches. Ben's joining me in the studio today. We're doing something a little bit differently than the usual system where I write an article in about 10 minutes and ramble on as much as I want to. We're going to try it on video and see how it goes. So Ben just got back from Canada Summer Games, coaching Team BC rowing, where you had the best ever result.
Close. We had most amount of gold medals since 1985.
Okay, so it wasn't quite the best BC's ever done?
No.
What was your goal going into it?
All gold.
All gold in all
gold
14
rush.
Races?
Absolute gold
rush.
Yeah.
And what do you think contributed to the success you did have?
A number of things. Big one was club engagement. Making sure we had all the clubs on board, understanding what was going to happen with the process, trying to inspire the athletes to believe that this is something that's going to help them with their future development, and having good coaches was a big key, a big piece of the puzzle.
And your coaching team, you had 4 coaches.
Yep.
Was this the first time you'd all coached together?
Yeah, specifically at one time. Being the provincial coach, I am around and working with other coaches. One of the coaches coached at Western Canada Summer Games. Another coach I coach with on a daily basis with a talent identification program. And another coach I coach on the same dock every day. So we pretty much coach together, but never for a common goal.
And not all 4 of you together?
No, never.
Was that a challenge?
At times. I think it's every environment or personality creates a different scenario, and there's different things that need to be managed, and different personalities and goals and ways people go about things, and I think coaches can have their way they want to achieve it and have had success doing that in the past, and that's what they believe is important. And when someone else is going for the same goal and has a bit of a different style, you can see that there's some differences. And I think what worked well though within our group, we instilled a coach's challenge. Every month we would do a coach's call-in, and we'd pick somebody to challenge the rest of the coaches. It kind of became an interesting dynamic that we'd try and challenge each other to grow. So,
how long did you do that for leading up to the games?
The year. Yeah, so at a camp we would come up with a different challenge that just us coaches would know about, and we just try to catch each other on different things or challenge the way we approach athletes, how we talk to them, what we say, and other things, and trying to gather information.
Do you think the fact that you were all high-performance athletes in the past created an environment you could do that?
I think it allowed for an openness to it. I think as top athletes generally want to be evaluated or challenged. What's different though is as an athlete, it's a physical movement and something that you can do with your hands, so to speak, whereas a coach is more verbal or environmental in terms of just an environment you're trying to create. So the feedback is not always immediate as being an athlete. So I think trying to create some systems like that made it exciting at times.
So as a coach, you obviously have a high performance background. You're an Olympic athlete, you're a world champion. Do you think that experience and background contributes to your success as a coach? Because you've obviously done quite well.
It allows me to hold a high standard. I think that's pretty important as a coach, to hold athletes to a higher standard than they currently are at, to have something to strive towards. If there's not an opportunity for growth, typically there's not motivation along the lines. And one of a big thing we put in with our group was effort plus focus equals growth, and growth equals motivation, which should then lead to more effort and more focus. And it was kind of our something we tried instilling within the team. So. And
that was with the athletes as well, not just the coaching team.
Oh yeah. No, it was spread amongst everyone.
Do you think you guys have a lot of credibility because of your backgrounds and your experiences?
I think it adds to it. Ultimately, every athlete has their own personal experience with a coach, and the athlete will, the most important person to the athlete is themselves. So if you aren't able to help an athlete get better or lead them down a path that they want to go, they won't have a good experience with you, so their credibility or any of that doesn't mean anything if you can't actually get them to do something they want to do or help them go where they want to go.
So it's an interesting point, because a lot of athletes turn coach and try and come back to coaching. A lot of them don't have a lot of success, and we've seen that at all sorts of levels. So, international events, national. But you guys have done quite well as a coach, and so your background, and you're talking about the soft skills of coaching and the coaching side that isn't the technical part. So you're talking about the part that isn't just a matter of knowing rowing inside out, knowing how to fix technical corrections. Do you think that's a big reason why you're doing so well?
Well, yeah, I think it can add to it for sure. It's hard to define a success sometimes as a coach. I appreciate you telling me I've done well. The results have obviously been pretty well, and the athletes seem pretty engaged, so those are two big components to it. But yeah, I think it's all part of it, and eventually somewhere down the line people will demand more of you if things are going well, or ask you to do things that maybe reveal the success that you have had.
So at the end of at the end of Canada Games, I had the opportunity to watch you guys because I was your mission staff, which is awesome. At the end of Canada Games, Barney Williams, who is your assistant coach, put a call out to all of your athletes and basically challenged them to go back and call up their grassroots coaches or somebody who had made a big impact on their lives and thank them for what they'd done. So was that something you guys had planned ahead of time?
Not specifically. One of our goals was club engagement. That was our big piece of what we thought would be a success factor. And just in our wrap-up meeting, I always make sure the coaches have a kind of an opportunity to address the athletes. And Barney took the opportunity to make sure we closed the loop on the club engagement. So that's why I also wanted Barney on board. He's always very sharp and trying to drive it to the next level. So
that's good. Yeah. Sounds like you learned a lot from you as head coach.
Yeah, it was a good environment. Yeah, Barney's always there to try and raise the bar.
Well, that's good. Have you ever called up a coach you've had in the past?
Yep. I can remember after World Championships and Olympics, getting in touch with my UBC coach, Mike Pierce, and he was somebody that got me going in the sport and allowed me to be in an environment that I'd never been in before, and kind of helped me up to that next level. So
good.
Yeah.
So you're kind of unique as an athlete. We'll jump back to your athlete experience for a bit, because you didn't start rowing till you were in university, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it's kind of a unique experience to start rowing, become a world champion within a few years, and have an Olympic gold medal. Mm-hmm. Not everybody gets to do that. No. We'd all like to, but not everybody does. So if you look back to up until you became a rower, do you find that any of that athletic background and experiences led to your success as an athlete?
As an athlete or coach?
As an athlete.
As an athlete.
And then as a coach.
My previous athletic?
Your previous athletic background.
Prior to getting involved in rowing?
Yes.
Okay.
As discussed previously.
Just amateurs here. Absolutely. There's certain traits within rowing that are not sport specific in terms of the type of training you do or the mindset. As a kid growing up, I definitely wasn't. I was able to express myself physically. I think everyone, as they grow up, want to be able to have the right, be identified with something. And for me, I found it easiest and to be 100% with a physical effort. Whether it was just lifting weights or running around, or so. For me, as a young athlete growing up, I just liked to work out at all levels. I played hockey, I played golf, volleyball, name baseball, all the sports. I was never a superstar in any of them, but was just kind of that try-hard kid. But my body type and skill set wasn't, I'd say, conducive to achieving the highest level at some other sports.
So you weren't really, really good at one specific sport?
No. And then luckily kind of fell into this sport at university after being cut from the hockey team, the golf team, and
And how'd you end up rowing? Like, how did that just sort of fall across your plate?
Paying tuition one day at UBC. A couple of girls tapped me on the shoulder and just asked me, hey, you're pretty tall, you should try out for the rowing team.
So cute girls is the answer?
Maybe a little bit to play there. 18 years old, moved away from home first time. Anyways.
You had your priorities sorted out,
yeah,
that's fine, that's good.
The real heart and nature of it, though, was the expression of who I was. And when you start getting involved in something and you see rapid improvement, you want to give more to it. And I was soon able to see that my effort was leading to speed, and I could quickly see that I was getting close to the next level all the time, and it just kind of motivated me more to want to keep going. So
what made you become a coach after being an athlete? A lot of athletes just quit and end and give up. Yeah,
I wanted to give back. That was the biggest part of it. UBC obviously provided me the opportunity to get involved in the sport. So that was my only plan after the 2008 Olympics, was to volunteer my time coaching the novice team, which is exactly where I started. And my hope was to be able to see if I could help create another one of me, or if not better, or just grow the program.
So your goal was to be a high-performance coach, not to just go back into grassroots, or?
No, my goal was just to help out. The goal,
wherever there was.
Whatever was needed. I was a gap filler. I was just happy to do whatever my skill set would be able to provide. And along the way, I really started to enjoy. I learned that I enjoyed helping people. Being a high-performance athlete, it's very self-centered. It's all, you are part of a team and you're supporting a common goal, but it's you're doing it for yourself first of all. And I think as a coach, you're doing it for other people. So it's a significant shift. But I found that it was just as rewarding, if not more, to be able to try and help others achieve their goals rather than achieving my own, which always seemed possible. But it doesn't always seem possible with other athletes all the time. So you sometimes seem to break these barriers that are kind of neat.
So what's been your biggest challenge sort of in your transition from athlete to coach, or now that you are a coach? What do you face as the biggest challenge and something that really has pushed you outside of what you knew how to do before?
Probably taking this new talent identification program, really not skipping any steps with an athlete.
Because you work with the provincial rowing program, correct?
Right, so head coach provincial team, as well as with Rowing Canada and talent identification. So looking for athletes who have the right physical characteristics, creating an environment for them that will allow them to hopefully reach the highest level. So having a professional coach from day one, the goal is to give them the best quality start to the sport. So whereas I came through, and my goal is to just get as fast as possible, as quick as possible, which is typically the way we go, to really make sure that no skips or steps, functional movement-wise, core strength, flexibility, skills, and really set out a foundation for a higher level of success at the 10 years down the road.
Do you find it hard to try and make sure people go through all those steps as opposed to skipping ahead?
As the program grows, it's becoming easier and easier. When a talented athlete comes and they can quickly see that they're probably better than most athletes very quickly, it's hard to not allow them to win races.
Right.
But to focus more on the process and the movements.
And on their development.
Right. So now that we have kind of the ball rolling with it, it's easier. The next step, the challenge is going to be having the rest of the rowing community believe in it as well. It's still a bit of an experiment in terms of us trying this the first time, so I won't say it's a signed and sealed proper way to do it for our sport. I think each sport has its own pieces that are different, different stages for development and how you do it. So it's still a bit of a wait and see, but in all sense of the purposes, I can't see how taking all the steps is a bad idea in any way.
So what do you enjoy the most about coaching?
Seeing athletes figure it out for themselves. I want to be able to create an environment that they figure it out and take ownership of their movements, their success, really. I think it's one thing to be able to give them all the information in a book or pamphlet or however you want to do it, but actually to, I think that would be the easy way, obviously, but to actually just create some benchmark goals, guidelines and then be there to support them through that and challenge them, but allow them to figure it out.
So if you were to coach Team BC again at Canada Games in 4 years,
yeah,
what do you think you'd do? Do you have any plan to do things differently and achieve that goal of taking every gold medal?
Well, I think the number one piece of it is finding the right athletes. Without that, you're not going to get too far. So right now, engaging with the younger athletes that are, we're under 21, so these athletes are in grade 10 right now, grade 11, going into grade 11. And engaging with them now, and I think that'll be the biggest piece of it, and trying to help the province with some more technical guidelines and feedback. Really, I think that we had some near injuries that we could have lost a couple top athletes, which I think if you take your top athlete out and put the next one back in rowing, it has a dramatic effect on boat speed. So.
So you're already planning for 4 years out, is what you're saying?
Yep. Yep.
And what is the biggest thing that is credit to all of your success at Canada Games?
The mission staff. She told me to say that.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining me.
Happy to help.
Happy Coaches Week.